You're listening to The Real Short Box, a comic book podcast made for geeks by geeks.
Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to all of you in the 24 time zones on this beautiful planet Earth. Welcome to The Real Short Box Audio Edition. First, let me introduce my fellow co-host. He is the CEO and co-founder of The Real Short Box. He's a man from the great state of Ohio. He was the 1997 Mr. Teen Ohio. He is the man who's DC Comics for life. The original.
This is too long.
Donald.
This is way too long.
Okay.
Everybody's left.
Okay, fine. I'll shorten it.
It's just you and me now.
I'm sorry.
I'm the only one that stuck around, Kevin.
Okay, I'm shortening it. I'm so
All right.
sorry.
Well, that's Kevin, by the way.
All right. Next is the man, Raphael, a pleasant, ravishing, rambunctious young man who gives great commentary. How are you doing, Raphael?
I'm all right.
And last but not least, a man who is a very private man, a man who's very intelligent, very warm and sweet. He is the sensational one. How are you doing, sir?
Warm and sweet today.
We were just
Yes.
discussing I was going to give him a little bit of a cream pie, and he did not want it.
No.
Is this the one that's right in front of me?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, Donald likes to just, do it on the table.
I like to share cream pies. I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
those are giant cream pies that you got.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want a whole cream pie just to myself. I got to share the cream pie because it's a lot.
Well, you already ate half of it.
Well, I mean, you put
Yeah,
the
I had
half,
half a cream pie,
you
but
put the
I
half
thought,
in your mouth and just dripping out.
but I thought he'd have it. Well, I mean, I got a beard; it gets stuck in there. You know what I'm saying? But I thought you'd want some cream pie too. But no,
Well, maybe next time.
I'm too good.
maybe
for
you
it.
can take some home with you.
Maybe you'll take it home from him.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
to
All
with
yours,
them.
brother.
Hey, maybe you're like mom or dad would want some cream pie.
There you go.
Or cream pants.
Oh my God! Speaking of which, did you guys see that clip? There's this clip online, and it's like the world's greatest magician, right? And it shows him and he's standing there and his pants get soaked, and the guy's like, "Oh, he just nut himself."
Oh,
and
no.
then he's like, "No, Steven, look again." And he looks down, and the stain's gone. And the dude that looked down, he's like, "Where did it go?" And then it just comes out of his mouth.
The best part is the way he keeps he makes an intense look in his eye
Right.
when he does that.
Yeah, staring him down.
yeah.
Like bird dogging him.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are we talking about?
This is another one of our segments. I think we call it roasted or toasted. We go over the top 10 hot comics of the week, and then we'll give our brief commentary on them and see what we think, if it's worth it, and are they just trying to milk it for no absolute reason at all.
I thought you loved being milked. Am I wrong?
Look, I'm not a cow, sir, so I don't like being milked.
That milking table at your apartment says otherwise.
I
true.
don't know about that.
And you're
sir.
like, call me Betsy.
I don't know about
What?
that. I don't know about that. Let's get started, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go at number 10. Batman issue number 222.
What is this caca?
Raphael was looking at that earlier, and he was like, "What?" He's like, "What's the point of this?" But basically, it's the Beatles.
Oh, you know what it is? You know why this is happening?
Why?
It's the Beatles unnamed, right? On the cover, maybe? I think they're on the cover.
Yeah.
It's because of the Eminem cover.
Yeah.
No,
it's exactly because of that.
It's because of the
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney cover.
Well, yeah, I mean the Eminem, but that started it, and then
Yeah.
they were like, "Oh, let's get Paul McCartney. Let's do one with what was it, Biggie?"
Yeah.
And then now they're
they-
going
they-
back and mining old Beatles.
I
shit.
mean, and honestly, it's a great cover, right? It's a cool looking cover. It's got the nostalgic old school Batman logo. It's got the cool old school Batman logo.
Neil Adams drawing the Beatles.
Neil Adams drawing the Beatles, which is funny because in Key Collector, when they bring it up, it doesn't mention Neil at all in what they're what they're saying. You would think it would say a cool Neil Adams cover or something,
Right.
but it's a cool Neil Adams cover. They don't name the Beatles, but they're basically look just like the Beatles in a sense in the cover. All around, it's a good book to have in your collection. I'm gonna say for me, it's in the middle. I can't say roasted or toasted. I mean, because I want to own it, but I'm not saying it needs to be in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm definitely roasting it.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be in the top 10. It's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a Batman collector,
It's
sure.
one thing. It's one
Sure.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Batman books or whatever.
Or Neil
I
Adams
have
or-
a Herbie the Fattest Boy or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? That Herbie comic that they had. And in it, he has the Beatles in there. And that book, I don't think that book's worth shit. Like, it's like $20 or something like that. But they mention it every time you look that book up. It's like, oh, the Beatles are in there. As it's like a big draw.
Yeah.
And but the book's not worth anything. So why?
Because it appeals
it's
to
Batman.
Well, because it appeals to that book could be sold as a comic to a collector who's a Batman collector. It can be sold to a guy who collects Neil Adams covers, and it can be sold to a guy who's into the Beatles. So it ticks boxes for multiple kind of collectors. But once again, I don't think it deserves to be in a top 10.
Right.
It's a good book to have if you come across it at a good price, but I'm not sure it's a top 10 book.
Yeah. And the reason why it's in the top 10 because of the Paul McCartney variant, that's just the biggest bullshit of bullshit.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I've seen books in the top 10 for less than that. So necessarily, it's more of a buzz book. But
Let's
Paul
put it this
McCartney
way.
creates a little bit of buzz, which makes you want to go and get it. But it's a book. If you're like I said, if you're a Batman collector, you're already buying it.
It wasn't exclusive to like anything. It was just a variant cover that
Correct.
you could have gotten. And it just so happens a lot of people don't order a lot of Superman books now.
Nope.
And so you don't get a lot of those variant covers.
And in that case, I think it was a huge miss on the case is that if you're going to put out a book, right, and you want to sell covers, you pick a character that's well purchased, right, like Deadpool, Spider-Man, Batman, to that nature. You don't pick Superman. Maybe you would pick maybe do a Justice League because they're basically it's Paul McCartney karaoke with Superman in the Batcave. That's the cover, right? So you maybe do a Justice League or something. If you don't do, I don't think you do Superman because the title doesn't sell as well as. And I'm not a huge Superman fan, so I'm kind of biased. But I don't think it sells.
Yeah,
very well.
I know. You can tell. It's in a Superman book. Nobody even knows that character.
I mean,
Some new
Superman
thing.
movies, love them, right? The No Superman, great. I just don't think his comics have been ever good. I mean, to me, you tell me, what do you
But
think?
Grant, I remember someone telling me Grant Morrison. The Grant Morrison run was good. I think someone told. Was it you?
All Star
told me
was
that?
good.
Yeah.
All Star
Okay,
Superman
All-Star
was good.
Superman was good.
Now,
The Alan Moore.
I
Superman
I
story.
did really enjoy Red Sun Superman.
Yes, that's really
That's
popular.
Millar, right?
That's
that wrote
the
that?
only run
Red
I
Sun,
really
yeah.
read because he was torn between good and evil. He was
Better character
What was the
development.
other one?
basically. Gotcha.
The Landis one. Max Landis wrote one. That was actually
American Alien.
Yeah, it was actually really good. Unfortunately, I
Hey, you're
guess I don't know.
Facebook friends with him.
Not really.
Yeah, you are.
so let's say
Am I?
Yeah.
Are you
we're
sure?
saying a roasted, impartial,
Right.
and what are you guys saying?
Oh, I'm
He's
roasting.
roasting too.
And
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle, but I'm probably more slightly roasted.
now this next one, it's kind of strange.
Yes.
I'll let Kevin give it to you. I think this is a good one.
Now, Donald, this is one of his favorite characters, so
It's true.
So I
It's
know
true.
there's gonna be a bias coming your way. This is good old All-Star Western number 10, the first appearance of Jonah Hex.
Now, let me tell you this before he goes any further. Before you're gonna get upset, but let me tell you this right now. I really enjoyed the Jonah Hex movie.
Oh, you did?
I'm sorry, I did. I mean, I was
The animated short, you mean?
No, he
the
means the
movie.
movie with the girl from Transformers.
Now I was a lot younger when it came out,
Yes.
right? But I like the notion of it. I'm not saying it was well filmed and it was a Academy Award winning movie, but I enjoyed myself. And this is a book that I actually do not have in my collection that I have not bought yet, just because I've yet to find one that I thought was in a position that I could improve it. Like I usually buy books at a lower grade that I could press and clean
Yeah.
to get a little higher grade, a little bump. That's gonna be a big bump. You know me, Donald. I'm a 5.0 guy.
Right.
But I'm looking for a 3.0 to pump to a 5.0. And every time I see this book, it's either in a really high grade at a very expensive price or really bad. But I've never seen a lot of in betweens. And I saw one. I won't say his name, but he was super overpriced. I just walked on by.
No names. Yes, no names.
No name.
But Megan Fox is the real reason why you watched that.
No, I actually like the guy who played Jonah Hex.
Josh Brolin
I like
also
him.
plays Thanos in Cable.
Yeah, I think he did really good. I think he really
you
well.
can't stop playing comic book
And
characters.
I thought
Him and Ryan Reynolds.
it might not have been
Chris Evans.
And Chris
yeah,
Evans.
it might not have been done really well, but the story behind I thought was good. I just didn't think maybe they didn't.
John Malkovich is in it too. You can't go wrong. Like, I don't like John Malkovich.
So it was a good cast.
And Magneto's in it too. Michael Fassbender.
It was a really
was in that?
bad movie.
Yeah.
Now, are you saying it was bad because of the special effects, the storyline,
the story
or the acting?
was really bad.
Correct. So you're saying if they had a better director, it probably would have been better.
Yeah.
And if you
I mean,
listen
a
to the
better story,
podcast that comes after this one, we'll tell you a good director that's doing some stuff with DC that could bring this one out and make it really good.
I mean, my main question is, why is it on the list?
Well,
Why is it on the list?
I don't know. Well, let me read
What are their
according-
rationale for it?
It says, well, it's weird to me.
It's not giving you it, is it?
It's just basically saying that
It's
the recent sales of
And I'll tell you this, but I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying is
Speculation, maybe?
No. I've been looking for. A good friend of ours, Julio, has always wanted this book, and he finally got one, but he's looking for another one. And when he got it and it was raw, and we looked through it, I kind of read briefly the first couple pages of it and said, "This is a cool book." So I kind of wanted this book too. So I think it's like some books where everyone holds off because the fact that maybe it was too high priced, and now because books are coming down a little bit, it's more, the higher grade is more affordable. So I think the sales are going up because the higher grade books are becoming more affordable. More people picking it up.
Yeah, because I'm looking at here, 9.0, 1100 sale outsold the $1,058 record sale from April. That's not that much difference.
No.
And then it mentioned a 3.0 sale of $206 from $169.
And we got to admit, that sometimes when you create a top 10, let's just say the top 10 is the same every week because the top 10 books are always top 10 books.
Right.
People stop caring. Sometimes you have to throw a couple mixes in there, like not high grade books, but just some mixes.
So
in
hence the previous one, the Beatles.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, but that one I get because there's that Eminem and that
Right.
and the association with Paul McCartney and all
It's
that.
dumb, but
but we get it, we understand it.
Jonah
With
Hex
this one, it's just there,
Doesn't
and
make
it's like
sense to you.
So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say Toasty because it's a solid book you should have. Key book, good first appearance, solid.
And he will be brought back at some point.
Yeah, solid book. It's
in
a
DC, whatever.
you know,
he
It's
used.
totally a James Gunn book.
yeah, I think it's Toasty too, but I think it's the Toasty that you
When he showed up on Doom
you
Patrol.
forgot that you actually made the Toasty. And you went out and you're like, oh, it's still warm, and you're like surprised and you're happy about it.
It's the
that
book.
It's there, you know?
and it's
I'm
the
not
book-
understanding
it's-
this metaphor.
It's the book in your short box that when you're looking for another book and you pull out, and go, I don't know, I had this. This is amazing. That's the Toasty I'm talking about.
And by the way, what if he showed up on Doom Patrol? I know you get so excited.
Oh,
And
dude.
Jonah Hex started. I know you love
Cream
Doom Patrol
pies
so
for
much.
everybody.
I know you love Doom Patrol so much. So
What are
Such a
you
good
What are you
show.
saying, Kevin?
you know what? I agree with your assessment. I'll say Toasted because it is something that should be in one's collection. It's a nice book to have, and yes, if you were to all of a sudden you forget about it, you go on.
Sean?
I like the book a lot. I don't understand why everybody's buying it at the moment, but good for the book because that's a great book. It's actually the story itself is very good.
We'll let Donald kick off number 7.
No, 8 actually.
I mean 8. I'm sorry. No,
And
wait.
this one.
No. Oh yeah, 8. You're right.
Now we've seen this before, and we all agreed the last time we saw this, like why the hell is it here?
But we know why it's
The
here.
cover sucks, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Who did the cover?
Adam Kubert.
I don't want to say
It's terrible. It's terrible.
I don't want to. I don't want to upset a good
Wolverine
friend of
number
ours.
88, guys.
Really?
It's just a bad.
Adam Kubert's a good friend
It's
of
a
yours?
bad cover.
Oh, I thought it was Julio's friend.
It's a bad cover.
No.
Wolverine number
Okay, never mind.
88.
I thought it was
It has Deadpool, the worst drawn Deadpool known to man, holding Wolverine up, having impaled him with his swords, and it's the worst drawn Wolverine ever. It's just a fucking awful
Well,
cover.
it goes back to that era after the Image
It's a negative variant.
breakthrough.
And I get that. I understand.
When the Image guys left.
It's bad.
It's kind of artwork Marvel was having for a couple of years when the Image guys
Is
left.
that's the
94
first
from
meeting
94.
of the two, right? Is that the first meeting
Yeah.
of the two? Whoop-de freaking do.
And I understand. I understand
The only thing
why.
worse is the interior art. The interior art's
Yeah.
horrible.
Oh no!
And I do understand why the book's on there because the Deadpool movie's coming out, and they're saying this is when they're going to first meet. So I do get that. I just don't think it's a book. I would rather have Deadpool and Wolverine's first appearances versus their first meeting appearance, especially this book itself.
Right.
So for me, keep it short. I'm going to say it's roasted.
We're roasted. Yeah, I think we all agree on that.
I get the
Yeah, I'm
I get the
roasting it.
appeal of the book, and I actually think the appeal of the book is not a bad reasoning,
Right.
but the book is just terrible.
Yeah. So we're going to roast it. Let's move on to number 7, a book that I thank Mr. Donald and another mutual friend of ours, Brother Matthew, for getting into my collection so many years ago. Iron Man 55. Oh, Lord. Whoa, look at a beautiful book. All these first appearances, not just Thanos, but Kronos, Mentor, Drax the Destroyer, and Star Fox. Who's being-
not to mention the Blood Brothers.
and the Blood Brothers. Yeah, can't forget the Blood Brothers.
This is easy. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming out.
And also Eternals, since they introduced Star Fox at the end, right?
Yep. So it's kind of like that. Once again, another solid book to have in your collection, right? Anyone who came across this book would buy it because at a good price, it's a good book to have in your collection. I don't know a ton about this book, so I'm going to go, other than the first appearance, I've never actually read this book.
It's not a bad read, actually.
Yeah, so I'm going to go
It's
with,
technically not the first appearance of Thanos. It's a robot Thanos in there.
Right.
so I'm going to go, for me, I'm going to go Toasted.
Toasted.
Because it's not a book it's a book I say you should have, but I can't say roasted because it's better than the last 3 that are on here.
That's for sure.
It's a funny book because I think for years people have been saying, even when Thanos peaked the book, it's an underrated book because of all the different first appearances in there.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not just about Thanos.
No, there's a lot. There's too much to ignore. It's definitely toasted in my book. What do you two say?
Yeah.
Absolute toasted.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So, all right, let's move on to another one. Number 6. We've seen this before. It's a very valuable book, probably one of the most valuable books of the modern age. It is Batman Adventures number 12, the first appearance of Harlequin and a standard comic.
It's easy. It's,
all know.
it's a blue chip book.
Yep.
Right? Very simple.
Yep.
You should own one if you can.
if you
If you can
can.
find one, right? It's a great book to have.
Do you just go bankrupt buying one yourself, sir?
It's am I wrong? It's Bruce Timms, right?
No, well, he's nothing to do with the book.
No, I'm saying, but who did the cover?
Creation?
No, Pat
The
Brobeck
person who did the cover
or whoever.
was
Pat Brobeck or something like that.
Mike.
What's his
Mike
last name?
Probeck, yeah, or
Okay.
Probeck, or I don't know how you say it.
So,
Okay, gotcha.
and then they're saying that the reason why this book is drawing some kind of hoopla is because the fact that in the next Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, that Lady Gaga is going to play Harley Quinn,
I heard about that.
and I don't necessarily that she does anything for the book in general. I think this is a book that doesn't really need any help. It's a good book to have on here. You should have this book, but I don't necessarily think that the new Joker book is going to promote this because the last 2 Suicide Squads with Harley Quinn didn't do much for the book,
Right.
and so I don't know how. Maybe
Joker,
I mean,
second movie.
Lady Gaga is a big
Popular.
star,
Popular.
very popular, so it could get other people outside the comic world wanting to buy this book, which might
Yeah.
push it up.
True. True.
I
So
think, yeah.
Toasted.
Yeah, I think
Toasted
the
for sure.
capital, the cultural capital of
Yeah.
that Harley Quinn has now is beyond just people who watch the animated series back in the day,
Yeah.
and the people who still read comic books. So I think the book has got some more legs.
This next one,
Number
I don't
5.
know, man. Yep, hit me.
You know
It's a
what?
classic cover.
It's a classic cover. Great cover. Amazing Spider-Man number 316. First full cover appearance of Venom. I mean, it's a cool cover. I mean, you see.
We're back to the last Roasted Toasted, right? Where we said
Yeah.
the book got a little steam because of the McFarlane signing, right? That's where this book comes from. It's a great cover. It's a great book to have a cover. It's not a first appearance. It's a first battle cover appearance. It's a good book to have. I actually have one of these in my collection just because I'm a Spider-Man guy, but I don't necessarily understand any steam other than the fact that more sales due to the McFarlane signing. That's what I'm thinking about. So I'm going to say it's.
McFarlane hype.
I'm going to not even say roasted. I'm not going to say toasted. I'm going to say busted.
Why not? Why,
I'm a huge.
why not lightly toasted?
I'm a huge McFarlane fan. You guys know this. I'm a huge McFarlane fan.
Yes, you are.
But I'm saying it's busted because this book has been on the radar since for the last 10 years. This book has never not been a book you wanted to buy.
Right.
Well, it's been slowly increasing over the last several
Yeah,
years.
price because the other books that go
Has
along
it,
with this.
Yeah, it has.
Like little bit,
No,
little
here's
little
the thing.
increases,
It's skyrocketed during the pandemic,
and it's come down a little.
Yes.
and now it's sunk like a rock comparatively.
I don't think it's back to where it was before. I remember you could buy it for
It's
like near
not-
mints for $50.
It's not a good investment book in
It's
my
not, no,
eyes.
100%
So
not.
I'm roasting the
But
shit out of it.
yeah, that's
it's
what-
not something I think anybody needs in their collection unless
Well,
they're hardcore.
If you're a Spider-Man guy, it's in your collection.
Of course.
If you're a McFarlane guy, it's in your collection.
I like Spider-Man. I felt no need to keep it. Sold mine.
Wow.
I like it. I have
But you did sell at the height of the market because you knew it was going to move at a higher
I
price.
sold it as it was coming down.
If it was
So,
only worth $20, you probably would keep it because you'd be like, it's not worth to sell for $20.
You're correct, 100%. Yeah, if it wouldn't have been worth as much as it was, or what I couldn't
yeah.
get out of it.
Well,
I
then
wouldn't
let's
do it.
rephrase the question. Well, how much does it have to be for you to keep it?
How much does it have to be worth?
What's the balance there?
I'm saying it because it was worth more than $100. I got rid of it.
Right.
I'm going to say if it's
Anything under like probably $50, I probably would have kept it because it just wouldn't validate selling it in my eyes. I would just wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And that's what I do with some books. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's just I didn't need it at all.
Right.
There's other books that I value much more, like 300. I think to me is
It's definitely
more,
the better book.
right more important. So I was like, why do I need both of these? So I just got rid of it.
Yeah, if you had to choose, if yours in the room and you had to choose one or the other, even though 300 is more expensive, I think you sell to get into a 300.
Yeah, makes sense.
And we've noticed a lot of people buying more 300s lately. So I'm going to say, like I said, I'm not going roasty, I'm not going toasty, I'm just going full blown busted.
All right.
All right,
Lightly toasted for me.
lightly. Okay.
All right. Next, number 4, The Century, number 1. Speculation.
Speculation. Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
That's the.
You know what's
he's
funny?
Gonna be that.
If he does it, it'd be a big FU to DC after, which is another story for another day.
But how different is it? How different in semi abilities or appearance is the Sentry from Superman? Like,
Man, the guy's like fucking schizophrenic or some shit, right?
no, I'm saying just like what he represents, right? In a sense.
Well, I mean,
Kind
for
of like Homelander,
a good-
a crazy Superman.
a good 10 years, right? He was like prominent.
Yeah.
He was an Avenger. He was involved in Civil
He
War.
tore apart.
But he-
what was the
but-
God of War? What was his name?
Go to the God Butcher.
No, the other one.
Ares.
Ares. Yeah, he fucking tore him apart in half. He tore Ares in half.
But Sentry flies, right? He flies. So it's like Shazam, Sentry, Superman. They're all like
Gladiator.
they're like revisions of
Prime.
Superman.
Hyperion.
Try to take the unsalted. I don't want to say that word. I want to take the plain Jane of Superman and making him a little different by giving him oddities that make him more interesting. I think.
Interesting character.
Well, they were like, it worked so well with Moon Knight. No,
Yeah.
no, it didn't. Moon Knight has survived off his costume for so freaking
Pretty dope
long.
costume though. I give it credit.
Well, of course, that's how he survived because he looks so cool. Otherwise, they would have gotten rid of him a long time ago.
He's
because it's not
a
a
blank
popular
slate.
book.
The character is such a blank slate, Moon Knight, that it's like anybody can do an interpretation.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna.
So that's the reason why.
you just create another persona.
Yeah.
Another identity.
Yeah, exactly. Sentry is, I don't know, it's an interesting case in the sense that the book has been, we're probably going on, 10 years now of speculation on the Sentry showing up?
Absolutely.
So this is just another false flag, probably.
Well, I'm gonna say, like Public Enemy says, don't believe the hype, and I'm going with
Yeah.
roasted.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm going lightly toasted, only because I do believe that something's coming with him.
You're wishing into an existence.
Yeah,
Your
Your Henry Cavill conspiracy could be truth.
he's interested.
possible, yeah.
He's interested. Like
I'll say this. There is a lot to like in that conspiracy.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, it would be a big FU to DC after what recently went down. So I'm actually kind of in your I mean, I kind of agree with you, Donald. I think I'll lightly toast it too, based on possible speculation.
Sounds good.
Number 3, Hulk number 1, and let's be very specific, is what we say by Hulk number 1. We're talking about
Red Hulk, motherfucker.
the Red Hulk from 2008. release.
This is really easy though because
It's happening.
it's
happening.
Thunderbolts,
It's happening.
and then they're basically saying, they got Harrison Ford in it, and he's going to be
replacing the late great.
and they're already
William
saying
Hurt.
he's going to be the Red Hulk in it. He's not. Could he be? They're saying he's going to be the Red Hulk in it, right? So, I mean, was it 2 years ago? This book was hyped, and then the book.
It's also done a 10-year cycle. I think I'm pretty certain, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, like you can say that about almost every book here has, like in the last 10 years, cycled through the speculation circuit.
Well, I mean,
true.
Thunderbolt Ross has been in many Hulk.
It's been around.
He's been in there. He's just has never gotten to be the Red Hulk, but he's been in Hulk movies, right? He just never
Hulk
gotten
movies,
there.
Avengers movies, and everything.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think maybe Harrison Ford probably more open to doing a Red Hulk, getting murdered and moving on. I think Harrison Ford's open to doing the one and done.
Collecting his paycheck and moving on.
I think you're right.
Well, as an 80-year-old man at this point, why not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
he's hanging up the hat with Indiana Jones this year. And
One last payday.
right.
One last
so
big
he wants
payday.
one last big payday, and then he's like, maybe two last big paydays.
Yeah. So I think the guy we had before he passed on,
William Hurt.
he was open to doing it long term, and
Right, and
Harrison Ford
unfortunately-
just one and done, make me the Red Hulk, kill me at the end, and then I can just never have to be in another
One of these movies.
Marvel movies.
One of these
yeah.
movies ever again. Yep.
I can go back to my life with Ally
Ranch.
McBeal.
Go to his
Yeah.
ranch.
So I'm going to go ahead and say roasted for me.
Really?
Right, because it's a book. It's a modern book that's really only a book worth at minimum 9.6.
Right.
I think anything below that, the book isn't worth very much in terms of an investment book. In terms of a book in my collection, it wouldn't really be a book I would put in my collection. So for me, it's going to be roasted.
Okay. Fair enough.
Donald,
Light toasted for me.
Yeah, probably the same thing. I like Toasted.
Yeah. The book is going to come and go. I don't think I think there's probably like 1 billion copies
Of
out
course,
there.
there's plenty of them out there.
So it's a book. If you want it, you can get it. No problems.
Now, the next book, number 2, is not as many out there. And it's something actually I want to get my hands on myself because I think I have issue number 2 in my collection. And that is Man-Thing number 1.
Oh, yeah?
Second appearance
Have I
of...
ever showed you my giant size man thing, Kevin?
If you did, I certainly wasn't paying attention.
Well,
guess not.
that's what happened when you let go of that cream pie.
well, I can tell you right now.
here.
I can tell you now. Man Thing was not on my radar.
And so you saw that Werewolf by Night special.
saw the Werewolf by Night
That was
special.
so cool. That was so cool.
That I went out on the interwebs and
right.
got me the Man Thing omnibus,
Ooh.
and I finished it page to page. And let
Nice.
me tell you, that guy who wrote that, fucking amazing. That it was well written.
Was it Steve Gerber?
It's Gerber.
Yeah, it was well written. It was concise. You weren't like, you didn't feel like halfway through the book the guy went crazy. No, it was really well all the way through. And then it made me really interested in finding these books. I'm Strange Tales #1, or no,
Strange Savage.
Savage Tales #1, and then the Man Thing #1 are 2 books that I'd be interested in having in my collection. I guess his books being brought up because of the
Special.
and they're talking about now having him in another show.
They should.
They did really well with that. So I think for me, just really quick, I'm going to say it's toasty as a motherfucker because
Absolutely.
I enjoyed the read.
Matter of fact, I'm black toasting it.
Wow. Burning it.
I'm burn toasting it.
Trials of the Man Thing, where he travels around the world and meets up with other heroes and stuff. And like, I could see that being like a mini series.
How about
I think he said Trials.
Legion of Monsters?
Yeah, Trials. Yeah.
How about Legion of Monsters?
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. With Morbius, it's Morbin time.
If
Definitely.
you have the time and you have the money, because the omnibus wasn't cheap, but if you have the time and the money, you can get the omnibus, read it, and he basically you get more insight into the Man Thing, and I think
Man's Thing.
what else has Gerber written? I think
Howard the
Howard
Duck.
the Duck.
Yeah. So he was he wrote practically everything at Marvel.
What was it, Hard Time, too? He wrote for DC. That was like his last thing. It's called Hard Time, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then he did Destroyer Duck for Eclipse.
Yep, very
He
first
had
episode.
he had a run on Gerber had a run on I believe Avengers. He basically, it was just like in the 70s where practically 3 writers wrote everything.
Oh, yeah, and I think he did some like Spider-Woman or something at some
Yeah.
point, too. Like, he would jump in every so often.
Yeah.
He was a filler, writer, too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you did. That's how you paid the bills, you know?
Well, they weren't paying much, so.
No. What's the next one?
It's the final one. It is number 1.
Rightfully so.
Omega Men number 3. And I know Donald, I've known for many years, he has preached and preached
Yes, sir.
about this book.
Yes, sir.
About Lobo. I mean, this man takes his handkerchief out. He is singing the praises to the Lord. He's like, Lord, when are they going to
Yes,
make
sir.
a Lobo movie,
Yes,
a Lobo
sir.
TV show? He's like, Lord, I have 8 copies of this, and I need these books to go
Yeah.
up in value.
That I do.
But here's my question, though. So the big draw in this book is that James Gunn, taking over DC, talking about Jason Momoa.
He looks the part.
I understand that piece. But
He looks the part.
as a person who pays a lot of attention to what you watch, can you distinguish between him being Lobo and Aquaman?
Well, that question, depending if you...
He has not been fired yet. He has not been
that's
said
true.
that they had not cut him loose from Aquaman yet. I know that he talked about rebooting him completely.
Right.
Well, they did say that Aquaman ends with number 2.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's that with Momoa.
Right. But he'd still be in some. They're talking about one more Justice League movie. And,
Depending on his acting skill set, if he can do what Chris Evans did, making you forget about him being originally Johnny Storm Human Torch and then becoming Steve Rogers Captain America.
The big hurdle is going to be
big hurdle.
the timing. Like how soon between are we going to see
Right.
Lobo and Aquaman?
Right.
Because with Chris, we had a long digestion
about a good
period.
4 years or so. Yeah.
Where he wasn't anything,
Right.
and then he popped up as Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a starkly different character.
Right.
Much like Aquaman is supposed to be a starkly different character from Lobo.
That's right.
Well,
He's playing Aquaman kind of like it's Lobo in the sea. So I'm a little bit leery, but I also know that Gunn's going to give him
Good
open
material.
range,
Yeah.
and he's going to just run with it.
remember when Chris Evans did Johnny Storm? There was toys and there was shirts of Johnny Storm, but didn't look like Chris Evans. In the era we're in now,
They look like you.
all the
Like
toys
person.
look just like
the
so.
character, yeah.
Aquaman looks like Jason Momoa.
Right.
All the T-shirts have Momoa's face on it.
Right.
He basically is Aquaman. So it's not like back then when you'd play a character and they would be toys in the store and it wouldn't look nothing like now. The you look at the all those like 6 scale figures and all the the really awesome toys.
One thing that might help, another example, you have Josh Brolin playing Cable and Thanos around basically the same period of time.
But there's
True.
the makeup. I mean, Lobo's makeup might hide it too. But being Thanos and
Well, I guess that leads to the question of how are they going to film Lobo? Are they going to do Lobo with him in white makeup?
He's got to be. He's got to be. He's just
Or-
going to get jacked. That's all it is. There's no way that they're going to do the Thanos treatment with Lobo. That would be stupid. That would be so. And I'm honestly, I could see DC doing it because I just said it. It's going to be stupid. if
prosthetic,
they do.
yeah, put some prosthetic makeup on him.
Yeah. Beef him up a little bit if you have to.
But here's my problem with him being Lobo. He looks the part, but he does not sound the part. My version of...
So how does Lobo sound?
In your mind.
Because
In your minds.
you've never heard Lobo speak
I have.
in your mind.
Superman, the animated series, right?
Exactly.
Yep, I know it.
Right, but I'm saying,
Exactly
but
it.
I imagine that beer guzzling voice with that same beer guzzling
I think he
comic
can hit
timing.
I think he can hit it.
did you ever watch a Batman series prior to Christian Bale? Of course, right?
Yeah.
Keaton, even further back.
Bad example. Bale was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was. I'm not saying he
His
wasn't.
voice was terrible.
I wasn't. He wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is that I started with Batman from way back, right? So when I went from the originals to Michael Keaton, it was different, right? And then you went to who was next? Was it
Well, you have with Batman, you have a variety of interpretations in mass media. Lobo, you got maybe 2 or 3. I think one of the video games, he's in it, right? There's a
Yeah.
voiceover for it.
Yes.
What was that? I think the fighting one, right?
Yeah, because he was on the bike, I think, or something at
Yeah.
some point.
So, and they still follow the same kind of animated series.
Now,
kind
here's
of.
the biggest thing. Besides you, Donald, and a good handful of people who are into Lobo or in the Lobo, when Lobo appears on the screen, right, to people nowadays, how many people really know who Lobo is.
They won't.
You know,
There's been a couple new Lobos.
They're gonna all complain like this guy's just fucking Deadpool.
Yeah, basically. Like, oh, what a ripoff. Or what,
Yeah,
well, I suppose
exactly.
like Deathstroke, how people feel about Deathstroke, they see him like, oh, this is a rip of Deadpool without understanding.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to make that comparison.
I hope not.
I don't think with Deadpool and
I think
Deathstroke,
most people
because their personalities are so different,
Yeah.
and we can thank Joe Kelly for that,
Right.
For creating Slade's or Wade's
Him and
Personality.
But I do
Daniel Way.
think people are gonna, when they see Lobo, are gonna be like, if it's a good, well done movie, they're gonna want to go out and get the comics to see the more backstory, right? If it's done really well, they're gonna want to go out. Just like with me, when the Man Thing TV show or whatever series made me want to go read to see how the Man Thing was created, how Ted became the Man Thing. So I think if Lobo's done really well, people are gonna go and say,
What if
who
he's
is
part of
Lobo?
Rebels?
Where did he come from?
What if he's part of a Rebels team?
But no, they're talking about
man.
You know I would love that.
I tried.
You know I would love
we
that.
had a sale, and I tried to sell Rebels number 0,
And no one wanted
their
to
first
listen.
appearance. Nobody listened to me, and I was like, guys, I'm telling you right now,
It's a good read.
This is the best
Tony
series
Bedard.
of the '90s.
Remember,
It's like
remember we met Tony Bedard?
the best.
But I can tell you
The
this right
writer?
now.
Awesome.
Whenever you tell somebody this is, like, for instance, if you told me, hey, the Man Thing omnibus series of Red Reed, here's book 1. It doesn't. In that case, if it's a 6-part series, you got to say this is a 6-part. This is the 6-book series you need to read. Here it is, and then they pick up that series and then they read everything that goes with it. You have to provide them the opportunity to read the series, because you read one book and then you're like, because sometimes the first book doesn't always deliver, but 2, 3, 4 do.
True.
And sometimes 1 is fucking awesome and 2, 3, 4 suck. Right?
By the way, that Rebels reference that you made,
yeah.
there's only 3 people that are going to enjoy it. 2 of them are you guys, and the other one, Big Sean.
All right, that's fair.
That's fair. That's fair enough.
But I
The
don't
only
think,
people who probably still remember Rebels.
well, like I said, I don't know much about the Lobo
Tony
character,
Bedard.
but I can tell you right now, I watched the movie, and I guarantee you, if it's a good, well done movie, I'm gonna want to go out and
Watch it.
watch more. Just like when I watched the last Suicide Squad and the fucking giant dumbass starfish is on there, it didn't make me want to read the backstory on it.
Oh, that's because you're
Starro.
not a DC fan.
Yeah, Starro.
Starro was awesome.
Star was
In the
really
comic
cool.
book.
Especially
He was cool in the movie.
And I didn't say,
especially in Rebels.
and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say Star wasn't awesome. What I'm saying is that movie didn't make me want to do it, right?
Well, I mean, it's just the fucking starfish that controls the thing. It's not there's not a
wasn't-
lot of storylines with it, but
Well,
Yes.
they didn't do
Right,
enough.
like Rebels.
Yeah.
they
Oh,
weren't
man,
trying to
so
sell
much
you
fun.
on that. They were trying to sell you on Peacemaker and what's it called, Bloodsport. You know,
Yeah.
but they're all like those were deep cuts.
It's kind of like Black Adam sold me very much on Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
I thought when I
Oh,
watched
and Hawkman too for that.
when I watched that movie, I was more interested in Dr. Fate than I was in Black Adam.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people.
When that movie was over, I wanted to know more about Dr. Fate,
Fate.
than I did about Black Adam.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan did a great job.
Yeah.
Well, just the character was
May
written
never
better.
do it again.
Well, maybe not. I mean, there's a way. There's a
he
way.
didn't die.
Yeah, but there's always a way.
There's a way.
There's always a will and a way. I
There's
get
a
it.
way.
I get
The
it.
character was written better. I'm not saying The Rock didn't do his job. I don't think
His character wasn't as fleshed out as you would have liked.
because he was supposed to seem like he was this badass, angry man,
5,000-year-old man.
but
yeah.
he ended up to me just seeming like a dude that winked. That was it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it, right?
Yes, sir.
That pretty
Well-
much does it.
Lobo for me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I'm gonna
Definitely
say
a toasted.
I'm gonna say
A dark toasted,
I put
black
my
toasted.
I put my bread in the toaster, hit the button, and it didn't work, so it came out slightly hot, lukewarm bread.
Oh, I'm toasting it.
No, I'm toast. You
You get
sold
that
me.
crunch. Put some
sold me.
some more peanut butter on there.
You sold me. You sold me on that one years ago, and I agree. Especially after reading Rebels and other stuff.
Someone
I'm
stuck
down.
a moldy
I'm down.
piece of bread in my toaster, and that's what it came
I had
out.
to rehydrate the outside of my bread and put it in the toaster to get it all crunchy.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Well,
All right.
that's gonna do us, right?
Yes, please find us out there on
Subscribe.
Subscribe first.
YouTube would be great. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a
Apple,
like. Give us a
Apple,
follow.
Google,
I hit that
Stitcher.
notification bell.
Right. Yeah.
I can tell you right
all
now, if you like what you're listening to, you gotta subscribe because it gets us to do more videos or do more podcasts.
And if you have anything to say about this, you have an opinion, please put it
In the comment section.
Yes.
Yeah, leave a comment.
And if we don't see you out and about anytime soon, perhaps we'll see you.
And hopefully, you'll see this in a roasted or toasted comic book shop.
Yeah, especially since there's so much paper.
Yeah, that's true. So much paper.
This has been The Real Short Box. We'll see you at the comic shop. Thanks for listening.